All right, Java 26 is here and your essential briefing is ready to go. Let's get right into it.
So, in the next few minutes, we're going to cover what's new, why it actually matters, and the big question, should you upgrade? Let's do this.
Okay, first things first, let's get the vitals. Java 26 officially landed on March 17, 2026. And right off the bat, you need to know this is a non-LTS release. That means it's not for your production servers. It's all about pushing the envelope with new features focused on performance, modernization, and of course, security.
All right, first up in our deep dive, let's talk about performance. Because these next couple of features are all about making Java leaner, meaner, and way more efficient, especially for all you folks building cloud-native apps.
First on the list is native HTTP 3 support. So what does that mean for you? Well, it means your microservices and APIs can now talk to each other using the latest, fastest web protocol. And it's built right in. You don't need any extra libraries, no fuss. The bottom line, lower latency and just plain better performance for your web services.
Okay, next up is a huge one, especially if you care about startup times. Ahead-of-time object caching. In a nutshell, this lets your apps get up and running way faster by preloading objects from a cache. But here's the real game changer this time around. It's now compatible with any garbage collector. Honestly, this is a massive win for things like serverless functions and containers where every single millisecond and every cent matters.
And speaking of performance, the G1 garbage collector got some love too. Now you can think of the G1 doing its work like a pit stop in a race. What they've done here is reduce the sync overhead, basically the time the race car and the pit crew spend coordinating. Less coordination time means less time the application is paused and more time it's actually running your code. The end result for you? You get more work done faster. It's as simple as that.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. We've talked about performance. Now let's talk about the stuff that makes your life as a developer easier. We're talking about language enhancements that make your code cleaner, safer, and just more modern.
Check this out. This is the fourth preview of pattern matching, and it's a big deal. We can finally use primitive types, like int and double, directly inside switch expressions. Just look at the before and after here. All that ugly boilerplate with instance of checks and manual casting, gone. This just cleans everything up, eliminates a whole class of potential errors, and makes your code so much easier to read.
And hey, structured concurrency is back for another preview. If you've ever wrestled with multi-threaded code, you know the pain. This API is a true game changer. It lets you treat a whole group of related tasks, even if they're on different threads, as a single unit. Why does that matter? It helps you finally squash those super frustrating bugs like thread leaks or when cancellations go haywire. It's about bringing sanity back to concurrency. Next up, we have something called lazy constants. The best way to think about it is this. You only brew your coffee at the exact moment you're ready to drink it, not an hour beforehand. This feature lets you declare a constant, but its value is only calculated and initialized the very first time it's actually used. This is great for saving resources and can even help speed up your application's startup time. And a couple of other things in the developer toolbox. The Vector API is back for its 11th incubator round. Yes, 11th. It's still being perfected, but it's all about unlocking insane CPU performance for AI and data science work. Also, there's a new rule in town. Final means final. This is a push to prevent clever and often dangerous ways of changing fields that are supposed to be immutable. It's a really solid win for security and just writing predictable code.
All right, let's round out the new features with our final category, strengthening security and, just cleaning house.
So, there's a new PEM encoding API in preview. What this does is give you a standard, built-in way to handle those common security formats for things like cryptographic keys and certificates. For developers, this means a much simpler security setup. You can ditch some of those third-party libraries, and you're way less likely to run into those annoying and risky configuration errors.
And it's finally happened. After being marked for death for years, the applet API is officially gone. Removed. This is actually a pretty big milestone. It's a huge step in modernizing the Java platform, shrinking its size, and reducing the potential attack surface. So, a final farewell to an old friend.
Okay, so we've run through a lot of the what, but let's take a step back and ask this so what. How do all these individual pieces fit into the bigger picture of where Java is going?
This chart really paints that big picture for us. You can see the strategy here. You've got features like HTTP/3 and AOT caching, which are all about cloud and microservices. The Vector API, that's laser-focused on performance for AI and data processing. And then things like pattern matching, that's all about making you, the developer, more productive. See? None of this is random. Every change is a deliberate move to keep Java modern and competitive.
So, all of this leads to the one question every developer is probably asking right now. With all this cool new stuff, should I upgrade? And the answer, as always, comes down to one really important thing: understanding the difference between LTS and feature releases. Your LTS releases, like Java 21, those are your workhorses. They're built for production, they're stable, and they get long-term support. On the other hand, feature releases, like this one, Java 26, are all about innovation. They're for trying out new things, but they're only supported for 6 months. So here's our official recommendation, nice and simple. For anything in production, stick with a battle-tested LTS release, like Java 21, period. But you should absolutely be using Java 26. Use it to experiment, to play with these new features, and to start preparing your code for what's coming down the line in the next LTS.
All right, let's bring it all home. Here's your 30-second takeaway for Java 26.
Okay, 3 key things to remember. 1. Performance. Java is getting seriously faster, especially for the cloud, for AI, and for big data workloads. 2. Modernization. The language is evolving to be cleaner, safer, and just plain more enjoyable to write. And 3, and this is the big one, experiment. Use Java 26 to see what's coming, but keep your production systems on a stable LTS.
And that's a wrap. That's your quick briefing on Java 26. Hope you found it useful, and we'll see you back here for the next release breakdown.